welcome back to Getaway Day. As always, I am Mason, he is Gautam, and we are here to talk about all things regular season baseball.
Woo!
So, I wasn't able to be here last week for a podcast, so Gautam was gracious enough to do that on his own. We've had some severe weather here in the Midwest, and unfortunately, my area is the one that got hit with all of the tornadoes. So I was sheltering during our regular podcast time, along with the small cat. But we are back. Baseball has occurred. We have thoughts. Let's get to it. Before we do that, Gautam, how you doing, bud?
I am doing good. And yeah, it's good to now be back in the baseball rhythm of things. And I'm glad that there was not any damage to you or your house or anything in the tornado.
Yeah, I got lucky. We've seen a few pictures of a couple of our friends that did not get quite so lucky. So, but we're good. Somehow, not even my patio furniture blew. It didn't even move. I don't know how.
Okay.
It's still exactly where it is, and it blows around all the time. So how it lasted through 2 tornadoes, I'll never understand.
Okay.
But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Like, I think last week you did a little bit of a just kind of opening series breakdown of some things like that. I didn't get a chance to talk through any of this stuff with you, so I figured we might touch a little bit on stuff that has happened over the course of the whole season, but for the most part, we're going to stick to this week. And clearly, first week of the season, what's the thing on everyone's minds?
Torpedo bats.
Extensions. Yeah. I mean, torpedo bats too. I was going to come to that one later, but it's so weird to me that usually there's like a little bit of a break at the beginning of the regular season, it seems, before you start seeing long-term extensions with players, just because it's usually done in the off season, done in spring. And unless it was close and they just didn't get it fully completed, then you wouldn't necessarily see anything in the first couple weeks. And it might happen a little later in the year. It might happen after the season, whatever. Well, we had 4 big long-term extensions for really good young players here this week. 4 of them, which is nutty to me. And then there's rumors of a 5th one that actually is seeming like there's some actual smoke there. We'll get to that. But let's start with the Boston Red Sox, who extended not 1, but 2 of their young studs. First, their big trade acquisition this offseason, Garrett Crochet, starting pitcher. I believe the opening day start for them. They just signed him to a 6-year, $170 million extension with an opt-out after the 5th year. This is a massive contract for a guy who has really not had that much experience at the major league level. Last year was his first year in the starting rotation. And how many innings did he pitch last year? Do you know that off?
Yeah, I believe he pitched 140. Where'd it go? 146 innings in 2024. And you mentioned that he does not have much major league experience. Did this guy ever pitch in the minors?
No.
I'm pretty sure he just immediately went to the majors in 2020.
So he was drafted in 2020, and then because of that whole situation, the COVID season in 2020, he went to the alternate site, but then he just immediately went into the White Sox bullpen.
Yeah, so the guy literally never started in the minors. He was a reliever in college, I believe, and kind of I keep bringing this up because I look kind of silly, but I'm owning it. When I heard that Garrett Crochet was going to the White Sox rotation last year, I was like, this is stupid. Why were they doing this? This is not going to work. This guy hasn't started since he was a high schooler. Why would this be successful? And I was like dead wrong. Obviously, the guy's supremely talented. He's up there with like the Striders and the DeGroms. Like, honestly, on a per inning basis, he's right there as one of the top pitchers in the game. It's just more a question about, can he hold up for a full season? Can he do a full starter's workload? We haven't seen it before.
Yeah, and 146 in today's MLB is not low necessarily. Like I think high at this point would be considered about 180,
Yeah.
which is coming down quickly because what 5 years ago it was 200 was still the mark, and you had guys that were pitching about 230 at the top end. But yeah, now we're down to like 180, so he's light, but not crazy light for his workload last year. And in that 146 innings over 32 starts, he struck out basically 13 batters every 9 innings. He only walked two. He gave up one home run every 9 innings, but he was a high ground ball rate guy, inducing ground balls on 45% of balls in play, which is for a starter, that's pretty solid. So keeping the ball down and he's incredibly good is basically what I'm trying to get at here. And there's a reason that Boston went out and said, okay, we're going to give you this crazy big extension for a 25-year-old starting pitcher who doesn't have much experience. I mean, more or like well over half of his career innings as a professional were last year.
He has 232 innings at the major league level in his career.
Yeah.
People used to do that like for 5, 6 of the season back in the old days.
Yeah.
I'm honestly shocked that this actually happened. Why wouldn't you just see if he can do it first? Like, you have him under the team control, and I get that there's the potential that this could end up being a steal for the team if he does follow through and become top of rotation arm, like top 3 pitcher in the league. Then this extension, nobody's going to think twice, and he probably would get something, I guess, similar to this when he reaches free agency. Uh, but the risk just seems off the charts high for giving this out.
So it's possible that they're doing this now with the belief that with him not having all that much mileage on his arm, their organization will be able to take what he's doing and figure out a way to help him with the longevity. Because I mean, he's not been an injury risk really at the major league
He's
level.
absolutely been an injury risk. He
Has
missed
he?
all of 2022. He pitched 12 innings in 2023.
Oh, I
So
didn't even.
he jumped from 12 innings to 146 between 23 and 24. And it's not like he pitched a lot. Like, the one season where he had like essentially a full reliever's workload was 2021. And other than that, he's been um incredibly unavailable, even for a reliever, like relief pitcher standards. So to
That's on
think
me.
that,
I did not notice 2022 was missing there.
yeah.
So,
So I don't know, like, does that change your thoughts on this extension, I guess?
um, not really. I mean, it's not that expensive either if you think about it. 6 years, 130, right? So,
Uh I think it's 170.
oh yeah, you're right. Never mind. So it is almost 30 million. 30 million a year. I believe it had deferrals as well. Or no, that was Ketel Marte's had deferrals. Crochet's did not. But I don't know. This is the one that I think could go the worst. But I think Garrett Crochet is an incredibly talented guy, and I think he's this is sort of like what they did with Chris Sale. It's almost exactly that, except Chris
Yeah,
Sale had
but
more of a track record beforehand.
I was gonna say, like, Chris Sale was an established ace at that point. He was that deal didn't seem crazy to me at all, because it was like, yeah, Chris Sale has been doing this for half a decade now. He's a stud. I have no concerns about that, and I don't even really have concerns about Crochet as a pitcher. It's just more the experience thing for actually giving this out. And I mean, I'm happy that he got it, but I'm just surprised that it happened. It just, you don't. this is such a unique extension in my eyes. Like you don't see one like this.
Let's think about it from a different perspective, though. This is Boston actually finally being a large market club.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
No question about it.
yeah. So
And we're gonna talk about what they did with Kristian Campbell too, and that's I see it like a sort of like a Brave situation where they're locking down like a true core for this team, and that can have a lot of benefits for ball club, like having the same players coming back year after year, but then also just from a payroll standpoint, they got these guys locked in. Like
yeah.
they know what they have going forward, and that can be huge for planning out payrolls for the future.
Yeah, and let's actually talk about Kristian Campbell. So Kristian Campbell ended up making the opening day roster as a second baseman for the Boston Red Sox, and then last week he signed an 8-year, $60 million extension that takes him through 2032, with 2 club options for 2033 and 34. So he is committed to Boston for a long time. And we've seen these kinds of deals a lot at this point. I mean, it's very Acuna-esque. This one is 860. I think Acuna's was what, 800?
Yeah, in terms of the amount of money, yeah, it's pretty similar. But I guess with Acuna, he was more established than Campbell is today, right?
Yes, he was. But at the same point in time, I think we're seeing that some of these really high-end prospects, it seems like they can kind of figure out who they are a little sooner.
No,
And
yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think they're starting to realize like who the guys that they would want to extend, and they're not making like poor choices. We're not seeing any of the guys that get extended like right when their careers start or even before in like a Churio case or Luis Robert. Like those guys, it was pretty clear that they were going to be studs. And I think Campbell's interesting because he was not a first round pick. He was actually a fourth round pick, and he wasn't even a top 100 prospect or anything before 2024. And then he had, I would say, the best minor league season of any player in all the minor leagues. I
20
think he was
home
80.
runs, 24 steals, 330, 439, 558.
Yeah. And I think it was like 180 WRC plus. This guy was a stud in the minors, and he just put himself on the map. He put himself in the top 2 prospect status in some publications, and
Yeah, along with his teammate Roman Anthony.
yeah. So um yeah, they knew that this guy's really good, and his play in the first week of the season, he's been insane. He's been so good.
Yeah,
um
through 8 games, he has 2 home runs. He's scored 9 runs, 1
yeah,
stolen base, and he's walked as much as he struck out for a 515 OBP.
yeah. So this guy is going to be a fixture in the Red Sox lineup for many years to come. That's going to be awesome. And I did want to mention, you were talking about the timing of these extensions and not usually seeing these extensions happen kind of after spring training ends. This one, there's a particular reason that they waited until the season started because um, now Kristian Campbell is still eligible for
For the draft pick
um,
compensation if he wins Rookie of the Year.
correct, yeah, and that would
Interesting.
not be the case if he had signed a pre debut extension. So they specifically waited till days into the season to sign the final deal, essentially.
That makes sense to me. Now,
Yeah,
some of these others don't really make sense timing wise. It's like these are ones that could have been done months ago, and they could have been done months from now, and it probably would have ended up being pretty similar money wise.
right.
Unless someone had a monster season or a terrible season, which, I mean, that's just how extensions go. But one of them that kind of surprised me that it took until the season started. And we're moving over to Arizona, who is also not shy of giving out extensions this season. But they finally extended Ketel Marte, the guy who is basically their cornerstone player. He's not who I think anybody thought would be their best player. And he's been around the league since what, 2015, when he debuted with the Mariners, I think.
Was it that long ago? Jeez.
Might have been 17.
And I believe this is his second extension, right? Because he may have signed
I
a
I think so. So yeah,
yeah.
2015 he debuted with Seattle, and then he came to Arizona in 2017, and he's been a solid player. He's not been incredible by any means throughout his career, but the last couple seasons he just kind of turned into full on star. Um, Especially as far as Arizona is concerned. Um, Last season, Marte hit 292, 372, 560 with 36 home runs, 7 steals. The year before, 25 home runs, 8 steals, 276 average. Like, he's been incredibly good. I would comp him to Marcus Semien the last couple seasons. Both second basemen, both kind of profiling as 30 homer guys, not huge strikeout risks, on base a lot. And he just didn't get any love from the baseball community at large. And now he's on his second extension with the Diamondbacks, this one being 7 years, $116 million with a player option in 2031. I don't know what the dollar figure on the player option is, but
It's 11.5 million.
11.5.
2031.
Okay.
He'll be pretty old by then.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way I see this extension, I also find it weird that this actually happened because I don't think he was in the last year of his contract. He may have still had several years left, but they ripped that one up and they gave him a new deal. And I think what they're doing here is they're stretching his dollars over like more years so they can drop his AAV.
Yeah, because
And
his AAV now is 14.64. Let me see if I can find what it was for.
I'm fairly sure that it was a couple million higher on the old deal. So this is a case where Arizona is saying, yeah, we want Ketel Marte around. He's established himself as a very good player. He finished top 3 in MVP voting last year.
So his original contract, it looks like they kept the AAV, or maybe dropped it by like a million. But
Yeah, I think they probably dropped it by like a million.
because he was signed through 2027 with a team option in 28. He was going to get paid 16.6 million this year, 16.6 next year, 14.6 the year after, and then 13 or a $3 million buyout in 28.
Yeah, so that's exactly what happened. They said, "Hey, Ketel, we want to do this deal where you're going to drop your salary for 2025, but we're going to tack on some extra years. We're even going to give you a club option for 2030 or player option for 2031, and you get to not worry about moving for a long time." And he said, "Sure, why not?"
Did you know that when he was traded from Seattle to Arizona, he was the guy traded for Mitch Haniger and Gene Segura?
Oh man, yeah, I guess I'd kind of forgotten what that deal was.
Yeah, it was him and Taiwan Walker for Zach Curtis, who I don't remember that name, Mitch Haniger and Gene Segura.
Yeah, interesting.
Um, so while we're on the topic of the Diamondbacks and Ketel Marte, I know we talked about Geraldo Perdomo's extension a couple weeks ago, but would you like to eat crow?
Yeah, I guess like uh Geraldo Perdomo is a guy that I was always just like, this guy's like, what's the good in him? He doesn't seem like he really has any skills. He just um his biggest skill seems like he's good at getting on base with walks, but he's not a great hitter. He doesn't really have power. But I guess I'm gonna take some of that back and just give him credit for being the solid player that he is. I think he is worthy of being like a starting level player. The Diamondbacks obviously value him like that, and then he's given them solid shortstop defense, and sometimes he goes on these hot streaks where he just gets a bunch of hits, and they like him.
So
They're keeping him around.
so I think the thing that's kind of clouding your, I don't want to say clouding your judgment, but the thing that kind of throws it off is Geraldo Perdomo is a fantastic shortstop in the mid 2000s. Like, he would be one of the best shortstops in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, I guess
Great
it's
defense.
like a profile from a different era.
Yeah, exactly. He's literally just a man out of place in time.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is really good, though. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to recognize that. Okay, last extension that is completed. San Diego Padres locking down their superstar in Jackson Merrill. Now, how many superstars have they now locked down? It seems like, yeah.
And every guy has like 9 years left on their deal too. He just lines up, right? Because
pretty much
it's a 9-year deal.
Yeah. 9-year, $135 million with a club option for a 10th year. So
yeah. So I just want to start off by saying I love Jackson Merrill. I think he's amazing. I think he's such a good player, and great job by San Diego to extend him, because he's gonna be like right there with Tatis and Bogarts, Machado. Like, he is a stud, and he's been a stud essentially from day one of his career. Kind of like Kristian Campbell is looking like he may be, but he really does it all. Like, he's got such a good hit tool, and he's never struggled with like striking out at the major league level. He showed power. He hit 26 home runs last year. Um, if there's one flaw, one very small flaw in his game, is he's very aggressive, and since his hit tool is so good, he ends up like swinging out of the zone and maybe like hitting pitches that he should just lay off. But that's something that can be easily fixed, I think, over time. Just with more experience and just more reps, he'll get there. But
well, and the good thing for him is, like, he's got such a great contact tool that it's possible that he'll never fix that, but he'll learn how to do damage with it.
yeah, bad ball hitters exist and they can succeed. It's just sometimes more challenging, I guess, like,
Yeah.
to make it work out.
Yeah, and
It just seems easier in my eyes. Like, if you got good plate discipline along with the hit tool, then you're unstoppable, right?
yeah, I mean, if he takes his his not batting average, walk rate, and takes it from 5% to somewhere 8-10%, then
Yeah.
all of a sudden his OBP is like one of the best in the league, Joey Votto level.
Yeah.
So, which
And
actually,
then
I kind of like that comp from a hitting standpoint. Joey Votto.
but he's exactly opposite of Joey Votto, though, because Joey Votto is all he did was walk, right?
I guess I'm thinking late career Joey Votto when he decided to hit homers. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. He can make contact with anything, and he was on base a lot. Is kind of where my brain went. But no, you're right.
But yeah, he also pretty much seamlessly became a really good center fielder without ever having played that position before last year. He was a shortstop coming through the minors, and then they installed him in center field because they had other guys to play shortstop, and now he's locked in as like a center fielder stud. I mean, who's a better center fielder in the league right now than Jackson Merrill, even though it's Jackson Merrill's second year?
Lane Thomas.
I'm just gonna pretend you didn't say that.
Corbin Carroll.
And we're gonna move on. Corbin Carroll, but
Julio.
Corbin Carroll's not even.
How about Julio?
Yeah. Okay. Julio. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
No, I love Jackson Merrill. I just wanted to see if I could come up with one that you might say, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
And I mean, Julio's streaky as hell, but he would be that okay, maybe, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say so.
So I actually really like this Merrill extension as well, from the standpoint that I think it will give the Padres the ability to um, if they could get a buyer, if they decide that Cronenworth, Bogarts, I mean, even Machado or Arise, just some of these guys who are getting a bit older, maybe didn't end up as good as their contract, the contract they got paid. If they try and move off of one of those guys, Jackson Merrill is there for the long term to be able to just hold this lineup up with Tatis. So they got two guys that are in their like early to mid 20s that are going to lead this club and kind of take over from Machado, who's now 33 and just still good, but getting older.
Just signed an 11-year extension. So
Yeah.
I think he's there for the long haul.
Well, I think he is too, but at some point, I don't know. I think they're going to try and get creative to get one of these guys gone.
Yeah, I mean, you can't put
Machado's the guy that still has like some ability. So I feel like Xander, you're just going to have to eat that.
Well, I think he's going to be playing a lot of games for the Padres over the next 9 years.
Xander or Merrill Kelly? Or not Merrill Kelly, Jackson Merrill. Sorry, other Merrill. Yeah. All right. Well, so that is all the extensions that occurred this week. However, there have been rumors of a fifth. And these rumors have been for years, I think, basically, and that is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. This is a signing that I truly believe the Blue Jays have to make, and if they don't, they're stupid. But there've been a bunch of rumors over the offseason about Vladdy's been asking for $600 million. Vladdy's asking for $500. Vladdy wants 14, 15 years, somewhere around there. And they could not get a deal done before the end of spring training, which was the deadline that Vladdy had set. Now, Vladdy never said publicly that there was a deadline. That was just what people had assumed. And so his agent is still negotiating with the team, and it sounds like there have been multiple reports the last 2-3 days, and we're now seeing them from Jeff Passan and Bob Nightingale. I don't really like that one. John Heyman, but all these really well-known and well-respected reporters that there actually very well might be an announcement on an extension for Vladdy this week. And the rumors from Hector Gomez and some of these other Latino reporters have been that it's going to be somewhere between 14 and 15 years, $500 million. So what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, to your first point, I totally agree that Blue Jays got to do this because they just haven't been able to get any of the other stars to sign. I'm not like totally blaming them for that having happened, but this is their homegrown star that they need to re-sign, and he's a rare free agent in that he will be only 27 if he does eventually hit free agency by the end of the year. But he would also command like a huge amount of suitors, and it could get into like a situation where you're competing against other teams, and if you're the Blue Jays, you don't want him to ever get to free agency. You want to have those exclusive negotiating rights to be able to lock them down. And I mean, 500 million and 14 or 15 years, that doesn't sound so bad after what the Mets are going to be paying Juan Soto. Like it seems reasonable. It seems like that's what the market would also give him.
Yeah, and people keep like everything that I hear from people whenever they talk about him potentially getting this much is it's an overpay for a first baseman. Yeah, 100%, and he's worth it. Like he's in this weird situation where he is the marketing for that club. It's just the same way Ohtani was with the Angels, where people go to games to see him. He is the fan favorite. He is the face of the franchise. You're going to have to pay a little bit more to retain your face of the franchise, to do fan service, to keep basically keep everything in check. Like Bo, if they can re-sign Bo, that's huge. Re-signing Bo is not nearly the same thing as re-signing Vladdy. And Bo is a really, really incredible player. But Vladdy's the one that they have to do. And if Vladdy gets away, then Rodgers needs to sell the team to some individual owner, because they have no business running a club if Rodgers Communications cannot give Vladdy $500 million over 15 years to be their entire marketing strategy.
Yeah. Well, I do think that it's pretty clear their intent is to sign him. It's not like there's no indication that they don't want to sign him or something like that. It's just
No,
it just
but
hasn't happened yet. So
yeah, and like a lot of the things have sounded like, well, they're 1 year short or they're 2 million AAV short, and I mean, it's probably not that. That's just what has been made public, and how accurate it is, I don't know. Probably not all that accurate. But if that's really what's holding back Rogers Communications, the Verizon of Canada, from getting this deal done, then and they need to go talk to their CEO, because that's stupid.
well, yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be the first big corporation to do stupid things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they've been willing to do 700 million for Otani. They've been willing to try to get, Aaron Judge. So I don't think the Blue Jays are not willing to pay the price that it's going to take to get Vlad to sign.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's about it on extension talk. Now, I do think we should talk about the fact that we had 2 unbeatens until Friday, which is pretty rare. The Dodgers started out, 9-0, 10-0?
8-0, I believe.
8-0? And then the Padres ended up I think they
were 7-0.
7-0? Okay, and they lost the same day, right?
Friday, yeah.
Okay. But those are 2 incredible starts. And it's incredibly hard to start that hot and not lose one of your first 8 games. I can't remember the exact stat on it, but it's the first time in a long time that a team has gone. Well, no, the Rays just went 8-0 like a year ago, or 3 years ago, didn't they? Didn't they have some stupid crazy start?
I'm sure other teams have gone 8-0. I do know the Dodgers go 8-0.
Blue Jays, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. reportedly making progress towards extension.
Okay. I want to just hear it when it's done. I don't need any updates along the way. But anyways, I was just going to say that the Dodgers were the first team to win the World Series and then go 8-0 to start the next season.
That's what it was. That's what the stat was. But yeah, this club looks as incredible as they were built. The Dodgers are just an incredibly good team, but they started the season 8-0, not at full strength in the slightest. And it's wild to me because they started out in Japan weeks ago against the Cubs, won both of those games, and Mookie Betts did not play in those 2 games. He had the norovirus. I don't think he even traveled to Japan. Or he
traveled.
He did,
he worked
and then
out, and then they sent him home early because he was not getting better and he wasn't planning to play in those games.
Yeah, but he lost 20 pounds right around the time of the Tokyo series due to norovirus, and he's listed as 180.
Did they say it was norovirus?
Yeah, that's what they had said recently.
But how did nobody on the team catch it?
I have no idea.
I don't think I thought they said that it wasn't contagious.
But that's just what I had read the other day, was that it was norovirus. It might not have been, but Mookie lost 20 pounds, and Mookie was a small guy already.
Listed weight at 180.
Yeah, so he was down somewhere around 160, and he came back for the regular opening day, still 10 pounds underweight, And he still, through the first week, has 3 home runs, a stolen base, is batting 296 with a 999 OPS.
And he had a crazy game in that first week where he, I believe he had a game tying home run and then a walk off home run in the 10th inning. And it was like, how does this guy do this? Like he was doing nothing baseball related for like several weeks.
He wasn't
And then
doing
he just rolls
anything
out of
walking away from the bathroom related for weeks.
yeah, yeah. And then he just rolls out of bed and goes and has a 2-homer game and it's like nothing ever happened. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame talent. So it's just but it's crazy that he just does stuff like that.
Yeah, but they are down another superstar now, though, and that would be Freddie Freeman. I think he gets the early season award for the Brandon Morrow Award for the stupidest injury. Now, I mean, this could happen to anyone. Freddie Freeman slipped in the shower and I believe broke his ankle,
He didn't break it.
sprained
He
it,
like sprained it. Yeah.
but yeah, like very frustrating injury if you're Freddie Freeman, or really if you're anybody. But Freddie, yeah, sprained ankle on the 30th. So they put him on the 10-day IL. We'll see how quickly he comes back. But he also had an ankle injury in the postseason last year and played through that. So I'm curious if it's the same ankle.
Yeah, just to add on to that. So, Freddie Freeman playing hobbled through the World Series, legendary performance in the World Series, hitting all those home runs, walk off grand slam and everything, all on that bad ankle. He goes into the offseason, he has surgery on that ankle, and now he injures the same ankle in the shower.
Oh, it is the same
That
ankle?
that has me highly concerned that, it has something to do with the previous injury and like it's definitely something to watch. Like maybe he comes back in 10 days and he's fine, but at the same time, it's like he's had repeated injuries to the same ankle now, and he's not exactly a young baseball player at this point in time.
Yeah. Um, so hold on, I was trying to figure out. So the other thing with this Dodgers team, though, going 8-0 to start the season. So they're down Mookie for 2 games, and then they're down like a quarter of Mookie's weight for the rest of it so far. Yeah. Now they're down Freddie Freeman for the last like 4 days. And this is not a club that's been like absolutely demolishing people at the plate necessarily. I mean, they've hit a lot of home runs. And that's kind of how they've done this, is they are second in the league in home runs with 21 so far this season. Now they played more games than everyone else at 10. Everyone besides the Cubs. But their team average is 225. They're like, I'm trying to figure out how they've managed to do this. It seems like they're
figured it out.
Taking walks and hitting home runs, right?
Home runs, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so if they're taking walks and then just their bombers are just blowing everybody out of the water, then once everyone's back and their good players with high averages are back, how good is this offense going to be?
Yeah, no, I mean, they're backing up everything everybody said over the offseason, like, oh, this team can't beat and stuff like that, because they are on paper the best team out there, no question about it. And yeah, they haven't even hit their stride, and they win games that they should not win. And I was telling you this story before we started recording, but the 8th win on Thursday, maybe it was the 7th win, but they were down 5-0 and they were playing a terrible game. I watched a lot of this and they made multiple fielding errors. They were getting nothing done on offense. And then they sort of started clawing their way back. I think Tommy Edman hit another home run. This guy's like Shohei Ohtani or something in the body of Tommy Edman. He's got, I think, 5 home runs this year.
Something like that.
Yeah, he's been ridiculous. So they're kind of getting themselves back into this game against the Braves. And Max Muncy ends up having a game tying hit in the 8th inning to get them even 5-5. And Shohei's coming up in the 9th inning. And literally every person, including the people on the broadcast, are just like, Shohei's going to do it. He's going to hit a home run. He's coming up. And literally on the first pitch of the 9th inning, he hits a walk-off home run. And everybody was like, we kind of knew that was going to happen. So when you got that guy on your team, it's just, it's crazy. It's
on a hip high cutter off the plate away.
Perfectly located to the guy's spot.
Yeah, and he just reaches out and pokes it opposite field to the power.
It looked like
alley.
a pop-up. It looked like a pop-up.
Yeah.
And it just kept going.
And it cleared the fence by about 2 feet, just got over the glove of the center fielder. But I mean, there's no words to describe Shohei that haven't already been uttered, so I'm going to create a new one. Sabalabluv.
What you just said right there is basically what Joe Davis said, like on the post game of that game. He was like, I don't even know what to say at this point, or something to that effect. And he's the guy that does it on a daily basis. He has to come up with new things to say about Shohei, and you kind of can't do it at this point because he just continues to amaze.
Yeah. Now, I will say the Dodgers, while their offense has been really just, I guess I'd call it feast and famine. Not getting a whole lot of hits, but when you do, you're feasting. They have been pitching incredibly so far. They have the lowest team ERA by far, with a 190 across the 10 games, and they're basically not allowing home runs, and that's the main thing, because they're walking a ton of guys. They're kind of up there in the top of the league as far as walk percentage is concerned, 4.3 walks per 9 innings, but they're getting a lot of strikeouts, and they have an incredibly suppressed homer per 9 rate at 0.4. So that'll end up coming back to bite them at some point, and normalize a little bit, because an entire team finishing with or having a 0.4 homer per 9 is insane. When Martin Perez.
Sonny Gray did that. In like 2023.
Martin Perez did it a couple years ago too, and it was crazy and very unlike him. But when one individual pitcher has that low of a home run rate, that's weird. When an entire team has it, it's really weird. So they'll end up giving up home runs at some point. But I mean, they're pitching well enough to be able to get these wins early. And once they have everybody back, and their injured list is made up of Tony Gonsolin, Kyle Hurt, Clayton Kershaw, River Ryan, Emmett Sheehan, Blake Snell, and Gavin Stone.
So Blake Snell's the guy that just got on the injured list today. So you say like when everybody's back healthy, and some of those guys are not even coming back this year. And
most of those guys aren't. But
we've talked about kind of the risk in the Dodgers, that they are a older team and they've got guys that have injury histories, and Blake Snell is unfortunately part of that list. He always seems like he spends at least one stint on the IL per season. This time it's a shoulder injury, so hopefully it's nothing too serious. But also the Dodgers are a team that has so much depth. They can be very conservative with their pitchers. If Blake Snell's like feeling like he's 90% of his like healthy self, then the Dodgers probably have no problem saying, all right, Blake, just take 15 days off.
Yeah.
You rest up, you have a good time, and come back strong.
And I mean, that's kind of what they're doing with Kopech and Evan Phillips too, right?
Yeah, I don't know the nature of their injuries.
Well, forearm inflammation for Kopech, which isn't great. And then a PRP injection in the rotator cuff for Evan Phillips.
Those sound like terrible injuries.
Yeah, but they were at the end of last year too.
Yeah, but you're right. They can slow play their guys because what's the rush?
They also have another guy on the 15-day IL for foot discomfort.
Oof, don't want that.
Yeah. Basically, Dodgers are incredible. It's possible they're going to get better, and they're 9-1. So 161-1. Who
Yeah.
says no?
Yeah.
All right. One quick note, and then I want to get to our last little bit here. So Jurickson Profar, 80 game PED suspension. Unfortunate, stupid. I haven't read his statement on it. He had what looked like his breakout season last year. I think it is his breakout season, but he looked like the first round pick or the first overall pick, right?
He wasn't the first overall pick, but he was the number one prospect in baseball for like 3 straight years.
That. But he finally looked like that guy. And then the first week of the next season, 80 game PED suspension.
Right after he signed a 3-year, $42 million contract with the Braves.
Yeah.
And he's going to lose basically half a year's salary, which is what, like 6 million or something?
Yeah. Something like that.
So 7 million. So, yeah, I mean, was it worth it? Probably not.
Probably
But
not.
it's also it's gonna make people have this. Um, People like to draw like cause effect relationships, right? And people are gonna say, "Oh, Profar was doing steroids last year. That's why he had his career season." And it seems like that, but we can't. We can never prove that. We're never gonna find out the answer to that
Yeah.
question.
But that's why it sucks so badly. Like Tatis's, his was during the off season. We kind of knew when all that stuff happened with his thing. When he was rehabbing from the injury and then crashed a motorcycle during his rehab. Like that one, we kind of know when it happened. But with Profar, we have no idea. And he was so good last year. I wanted to fully believe that he just finally turned a corner. And then this happens. And then even knowing that, I mean, he could have used him one time 3 weeks ago and we would have no idea.
I'll give you some quotes from Profar. So he said, Monday was the most difficult day of my baseball career. He was devastated by the news. He added that he was tested 8 times for PEDs during his breakthrough season offensively in 2024 and never tested positive. The positive test, according to Profar, occurred this offseason.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But it makes sense that they probably tested him a lot last year, given the fact that he'd never done that before.
So that makes me, to your question that you asked before we started, did the Braves know about this? It's so, the timing of it's weird. If he tested positive in the offseason, then did he
Yeah,
not find out the result or did they already know before?
yeah, I have no idea.
I don't know how that works.
It's
You would think that like why shouldn't that come out as soon as it's known? What's the lag for?
That's a great question.
Okay.
But it looks really sketchy from a whole bunch of different perspectives, and I don't love
Yeah.
it. Um,
But I think we got to talk about the Braves though, because this has a big impact on them. That was the one thing the Braves did this offseason. They didn't do anything on the pitching side, and all they did for their offense was bringing in Jurickson Profar. And then they go and they start the season 0-7. Like that's you can't start any worse than that. And I'm not saying the Braves are dead because they're clearly a very talented team, and a lot of
but
people pick them to win the division.
there has never been, forever, ever been a team that started the year 0-7 and still made the playoffs. They would have
Yeah.
to be the first.
But
If
this
they're
also
gonna do
feels
it.
like the conversation that we were having about the Astros early last season, where it was like, the Astros are still good, probably, but they started really bad. So it just
Yeah.
makes it an uphill battle to fight the math and still make the playoffs when you put yourself in a hole like that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's one of those that this is now something that's going to be talked about with this club the entire season. Like the Astros had to deal with, they started out horribly, but not, they're now trying to do something that has never been done in history. It's rare. It's going to be tough for them to make it. It's also a division that's a lot easier to make it into the postseason than the National League East.
Yeah.
This is going to be tough for the Braves.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it does not coincide with our Nationals prediction because they got off to a 1-6 start, so they didn't exactly capitalize on the Braves sucking.
Hey, but 1-6 teams to start the year have made the postseason.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And
that's all I'm saying.
and to give some more hope for the Braves, they did finally win a game, and also other teams that have had a game lose have made the playoffs in the past. So if you just forget about like beginning of the season, like a 7-game losing streak, even insanely good teams can have those at various times within a season. So
Yeah. It's one of those that the timing is just kind of a mental thing,
yeah,
is
and
what it
everybody's
is.
focused on it because everybody's like, "Oh my god, the Braves are 0-7."
Yeah. Whereas if you're already like 13 games above 500 and then you lose 7 in a row, it's
Yeah,
not as
exactly.
noticeable.
Yep. And Profar, I will also add, is not eligible for postseason play now due to the suspension.
Ooh, forgot about that. Dang, that could be rough.
Yes. They're kind of
Kelnick's gonna
making
have to
do with
figure it out.
and Brian De La Cruz. It's not a great situation. The
No, it is
outfield, right?
not.
The Braves.
Braves outfield has not been a great situation for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
So, all right. So, last topic that I want to talk about. I'm going to preface this with the Yankees are the best offense in baseball, period. 9 runs per game through the beginning of the season, 25 home runs, including a 9 home run game, which had never been done in Yankee history ever until this year. They've done it. They've got 2 home runs from Trent Grisham this year. I don't understand that. But whatever. So Yankees are easily the hottest offense in baseball right now. And the torpedo bats that you talked about last week, it seems to be a factor in it. Seems to be helping. But there are 2 other incredibly hot offenses right now. And I want to give them some equal love. Now, how we're going to do this is I will make a proposal for one team as to why they're better, and you will make a proposal for the other team as to why they're better. It
Oh
should be
boy.
really easy. You're going to take the Cardinals. I'm going to take the Cubs. Wait,
Okay.
no, hold on. We'll do that the other way because I think we've both been watching our own teams. But basically, how I'm determining hot offenses, there are only 3 teams in Major League Baseball that are averaging over 6 runs per game so far this year. Those 3 would be the Yankees at 9 runs per game, and then the Cardinals and Cubs at 7.3 and 6.3 runs per game, respectively. So do you want to start first or me?
I will start.
Okay.
So the Cubs, they got off to a definitely a rough start in Japan. They lost those 2 games. They scored like I think less like 4 runs or something combined in the 2 games. Then they had to stew over it for like an entire week before they played another regular season game. They went back to spring training. They played more Cactus League games, and then they played Arizona opening day Thursday. And they go out and they score 10 runs off Zach Gallen. Well, not all of them off Zach Gallen, but they crushed Zach Gallen, and it was like, all right, let's go. Like great opening day, way to get things going. And then they basically just carried that through. Aside from like, there's only really one other game I think where they scored 1 run, but other than that, they've been just putting up crazy run totals. Specifically in the series against Oakland. Oakland does not have the best pitching, but they're not called Oakland anymore, and they don't play in Oakland anymore. But the A's opened their season in Sacramento, and the Cubs scored 18 runs on A's opening day, and then they followed that up with a 7-run performance, and then 10 more runs to sweep the A's. Um, and Kyle Tucker has been pretty much as good as advertised, if not better. He's probably been the second best player in the league after Aaron Judge. He's already got 15 RBI, 15 hits, 3 stolen bases, 5 home runs, and OPSing a cool 1203. So they're led by Tucker. Suzuki's kind of been doing his thing. Dansby's got 3 home runs. Carson Kelly, who we'll get to in a moment, has been having the best stretch of his career probably. And then everybody else is just kind of doing their part. And it's we haven't seen a Cubs offense like this in years, maybe a decade, maybe since the 2016 team. Um, and I'm not necessarily comping them to that team. It's just way too early to say, yeah, the Cubs are like uh, the best offense in the league or anything like that. But they definitely have the makings of a team that could be like at least top 10, but possibly like a top 5 offense. And it it seems possible just because they don't really have like flaws in the lineup. They have pretty solid guys all around with the superstars in Tucker and Suzuki too.
Yeah. Now, I fully agree that probably at the end of the season, the Cubs are going to end up being the better offense of the Cardinals and the Cubs. Um, feel pretty confident with that statement as of right now, but the Cardinals early on are giving them a run for their money. And they're showing what this Cardinals team is capable of and what people expected from this club last year. So the Cardinals, through their first 8 games, were averaging 7.3 runs per game. Actually, a little higher than that because that wasn't counting in today's 9 runs in game 1. We're still about to be 4-5, which kind of goes to show you how bad our pitching is. Yeah, we're currently losing 18-4.
Yeah.
So it's not going great on the pitching side. But on the offensive side, the Cardinals lead the majors in batting average through the beginning of today at a 302 average. That beats the Yankees, who are 299. And then I can't remember who the next club was, but I believe they were 295. So the Cardinals have had everybody on base basically all the time. And just a moment ago, when the Cardinals scored their 3rd and 4th runs of this game, they just made it 9 consecutive games to start the season with 10 or more hits. So that is not an easy feat at all, especially early on in the season. And this is a club that nobody could hit in spring training. So all of a sudden, the Cardinals are making contact. They're patient as hell. And it's kind of wild. Like, so Lars Nootbaar has walked 14% of the time. His OBP is over 500. Arenado has walked 15% of the time. His OBP is 455. Herrera, his OBP is 455. Nolan Gorman hasn't really got a whole lot of playing time, but he's 500 OBP or 556. But basically, this club always has people on base. And so driving in runs has been pretty easy. Whenever you've got that many people on base, you're going to scratch some of them across. Home run wise, nothing crazy, other than the fact that Ivan Herrera is the first Cardinals catcher ever to have a 3-homer game. And then the next game, he hit another home run, making him the 26th catcher in Major League history to have 4 home runs in a 2-game span. Herrera looks so good at the plate, man. This club is so many good young pieces. Victor Scott has multiple home runs. He's got 4 steals. Like, this club can do it offensively. I fully believed that they were better than everyone was giving them credit for in the offseason. Pitching, I fully agree with everyone on everything they've ever said. It's awful. But I think the big thing to me that just shows how different this Cardinals offense is this year, our backup catcher, defensive first, Pedro Pages, had some really incredible games last year, but they were few and far between. Father's Day, 2 home runs at Wrigley Field. That was kind of his big game. Well, in his few appearances as a backup catcher so far this year, he has a home run. He's hitting 400 through like 25 plate appearances, and he had 6 RBIs through game one. I don't know. It looks like he might have just driven in another run here. No, he's on deck. But yeah, but when your backup catcher is playing that well, that's a really good problem to have, because he's not playing better than anyone else, or else he would be the starter right now. But he's not. He's still the backup. So this Cardinals offense right now, kind of the hottest offense in the league other than the Yankees. And we're still below 500 because we cannot pitch.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's going on with catchers right now? We got Ivan Herrera having 3 homer games. We got Carson Kelly just hitting a cycle on opening day in Sacramento. By the way, no visiting player in the history of the Oakland Coliseum had ever hit a cycle, no matter what position, like not just catchers. It's never happened. And it's so weird to me because doesn't the Oakland Coliseum seem like a ballpark where it'd be easier to hit a triple?
I'm guessing the homer was the problem at the Coliseum.
I guess, yeah, but you would think in almost a 50-year history they would have at least one visiting cycle, right?
Yeah, you would think one at least, but yeah, it's the Coliseum was notorious for suppressing the home run. So I would fully believe that we've had 3/4 of a cycle for a visiting club, and the homer was the missing piece.
Well, do you want to ask how Carson Kelly completed his cycle?
Was it a natural cycle?
Natural cycle, what's that?
The single, then the double, then the triple, then the homer?
Nope. The last one was the triple.
Okay,
and the triple.
So a pretty standard order of events.
But you don't expect Carson Kelly to hit
Carson Kelly hit a triple?
That's what I'm going to tell you. So
okay,
he drove a ball to, he's a right-handed hitter. He drove the ball to deep right center field and it banged off the wall. And then it just went off into no man's land because the center fielder was trying to catch the ball. So then Carson Kelly was able to get to third. And that is like, I think it's like the second triple of his career, maybe third. And we're talking about a guy that's played like 10 years now.
So I would actually like to take a question that you posed here a moment ago, and I would like to modify it just a smidge. You asked what's going on with catchers. I want to ask what's going on with Cardinals catching prospects, because Carson Kelly, the heir apparent to Yadier Molina about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So next.
That's crazy. So that's been 10 years now.
Tomorrow, Andrew Kisner is going to hit a cycle for the Nats.
Oh, yeah. But I wanted to bring up Logan Hoppy too, because he's now homered in 4 straight games. And I mean, we gotta give the Angels credit for making that trade and give them credit for like good performances, because we don't get to do that very often.
Yeah, no, Ohapi is awesome. And I think we both know that I've loved Ohapi since he came up into the majors. Before that, I had no idea who he was when he was in the Phillies org. But as soon as he made his debut and I watched him play, I've loved that guy. Yeah, I'm so happy like for him.
Big power and could be very, very, very good catcher for a long time.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that is a pretty good stopping point here. I'm sure there's many more things we could have talked about. I did not even complain once about the Rockies. What is this? Ridiculous. But thank you very much. We will be back here next week, and have a great night.
If you enjoy the podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcasting app and YouTube to make sure you don't miss any future episodes. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Getaway Day Pod. If you enjoy card collecting, check out our sister YouTube channel at Getaway Day Cards.